Yo, 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 what's good, YouTube family? This your girl with the shooter, back with another video, and today we got to talk about something serious, you know what I mean? Like, something super, super serious that, I think it's high time we shed light on this. I think some athletes have been doing a great job with bringing awareness to this issue, and I'll be doggone it if I'm not going to use my platform to also do the same thing. So we're going to speak on it today. Now, I do have to give y'all the disclaimer first and foremost. This video is going to offend a lot of people. But as you probably already have guessed, I do not give a fuck. You feel me? So if you're one of those people that you get easily offended by certain things, please do yourself a favor. Do not watch this video. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go ahead and keep scrolling and go to another video about something less serious. On the other hand, if you're committed to knowing the truth and what's really going on out here in these industries, by all means, this video is for you. And if you're committed to taking this truth and actually making the changes that need to be made so that justice can prevail for everyone, then by all means, this video is for you. So we're going to get into it. But before we get into it, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. And without further ado, let's just get to it, man. Okay, so if you guys don't know who Paige Bueckers is, Paige Bueckers was the #1 pick in the WNBA draft this year. She got selected to go to the Dallas Wings. She currently plays for the Dallas Wings in the W. Now, Paige Bueckers has been using her platform in the W to bring awareness to the fact that Black women athletes in the W do not receive nearly as much coverage as white women athletes in the W, and how surprising that is considering the W is mostly comprised of Black women. So Paige has been, every chance she gets, she accepted a award. I want to say she got an ESPY award or something like that. Don't quote me on that. She even used her acceptance speech as an opportunity to bring awareness to this, and she's been doing a really good job of it, quite frankly.
First, I'd like to say all glory to God because, this is better than I could have ever imagined. I'm just a small town kid with really big dreams, and I'm honored to show all the little kids that are watching this that dreams do come true if you work hard and you have great faith in your life. A huge shout out to my friends and my family and everybody that helped me get to be where I am today, especially my coaches and my teammates. I stand on this stage alone, but without them, I wouldn't have this award, and they've sacrificed so much for me. Okay, sorry. I just had ankle surgery. I'm out of breath. Okay, out of shape. But no, with the light that I have now, as a white woman who leads a Black-led sport and celebrated here, I want to show a light on Black women. They don't get the media coverage that they deserve. They've given so much to this sport and the community and society as a whole, and their value is undeniable. And in the WNBA, last season, the postseason awards, 80% of the winners were Black, but they got half the amount of coverage as the white athletes. So I think it's time for change. Sports media holds the key to storylines. Sports media and sponsors tell us who is valuable, and you have told the world that I matter today, and everyone who voted, thank you. But I think we should use this power together to also celebrate Black women. So to Maria Taylor, Robin Roberts, Maya Moore, Odyssey Alexander, to all the incredible Black women in my life on my teams, to Breonna Taylor and all the lives lost, and to those names who have not yet learned, but I hope to share, I stand behind you, and I will continue to follow you and follow your lead and fight for you guys. So I just want to say thank you for everything.
And so Paige Bueckers just feels like Black women should get more coverage, not only when they, break records or what have you, or they're doing TikToks, but this should actually be the norm because the league, after all, is in fact comprised of mostly Black women. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about what actually needs to happen in order for these Black women to receive the coverage they deserve. What needs to happen? Now, a lot of people actually appreciate Paige Bueckers for what she's doing, especially considering the fact that she is a white woman and she's using her privilege as a white woman in a predominantly Black space to amplify this message. Even still, with players like Paige Bueckers using their privilege to amplify messages like Black women need more coverage, it's not actually being done. I mean, she can amplify it all day long, But Paige is only one person, and she can't do it by herself. So here's some things that I think should help, could help, would help if they were ever actually done in order to get Black women more coverage in media, in the W, not just the W, but other sports, even on down to high school sports, because I've heard some pretty disgusting things be said by men gatekeepers put in places. They are your athletic directors at your local high school. They are your coaches for your high school teams. I mean, this hate for Black women is deeply rooted. And don't think for one second it's not projected on the high school level, because it is. And I can tell you that right now, just being someone who has shot high school sports for so long myself. But one of the first things that I think needs to happen in order to get Black women more coverage is the media needs to make a commitment to equity. The media itself, the people who are doing the shooting, they need to commit to equity first and foremost, because what happens is you have these gatekeepers, they sit in these positions and they pick and choose who they want to hire. And a lot of them, a lot of times, they only hire media content creators that cater to white audiences. And it's really sad. It's disgusting. And I think, honestly, I've cracked the code to why people do this, particularly white people. White people feel like they own America. White people feel like they built this country. White people feel like this country was built on the backs of whiteness. They feel like they are superior to all, above all, and everyone is inferior to them. That said, they can't stand to see someone being successful or someone prospering or progressing in life without having some sort of proximity to whiteness, because they just feel like they have to have a hand in everything. And this is the way they continue their racism throughout generations and generations. The fact that everybody is jumping on this bandwagon and selling their souls for this white proximity is very much so disgusting to me. Now, so when I tell you this hate for Black women is deeply rooted, it's a fact, guys. It's the truth. And the fact that white people are so pretentious that they literally feel like they have to have a face in the place of everything, it's a little, I don't even know the word for it, but I do know that this is a thing and it does exist. And so because of this, a lot of times you have these gatekeepers that hire these media personnel, and they only allow other white shooters in these spaces to cover these athletes. And what do the white shooters do once they get in the door? They just shoot white people. That's all they do. So I would say, the media really needs to do a better job of committing to equity themselves, because that's really where it starts. In addition to that, if you call yourself being one of these people that are gonna give, a Black creative like myself an opportunity to shoot for your professional team, do not approach me with the idea that I should shoot for your organization for little to no money. Because I guarantee you, if a white person came along with the same talent as me, you would be throwing money at their feet. So do not continue this rhetoric that, oh, well, you're doing me a favor, because you're not. You need me to cover your athletes that don't get the coverage. So if you need me to help you and create content for you, why are you now coming to me with this approach that, oh, well, we can't pay that much and we can't do this and we can't do that, especially if you're a professional organization. So let's just start there. Even before the media makes their commitment to equity, the people that are hiring us, that are, in our DMs and saying, hey, yeah, we need shooters, please be prepared to come with an appropriate budget, because this is a real life job. If these are the things that I'm already having to deal with coming in the door, imagine the things that I'm going to have to deal with once I'm in the door and actually doing the job. We have to start from the very beginning. If you want the content shot, you got to pay somebody to shoot the content. Because I can guarantee you the white shooters are getting paid handsomely. And so should the Black shooters. So it goes for folks both behind and in front of the camera. Y'all got to pay to play. And if you're not going to pay folks to come in and give you what you want, you're going to continue to have this issue of not having your Black women athletes covered. So pay them folks. Pay us. There's people out here, myself included, that would love to use our platforms and our gear and our experience and expertise to help you guys get the coverage that you need. But you got to pay us, guys. We're not doing this for free. This is not some sort of internship for us. This is real life. And a lot of us have mortgages and we need to be paid for our work. It's just as simple as that. In addition to the media showing commitment to equity, I think that a lot of these sports networks and media outlets, they need to intentionally allocate space, time, and resources to cover Black women athletes, not just when they're breaking records or doing TikToks. Like, this literally needs to be the norm. Oftentimes in sports media, you only hear about Black women when they've, broken a record, or, Juju Watkins just broke a record for this, that, or that. You know what I mean? But where's the coverage of Juju Watkins when she's not doing that? Where is it? Or Juju Watkins signed a deal with this and that. Okay, but where's the coverage for Juju Watkins when she's not signing deals and such? Where's the coverage for A'ja Wilson when she's not coming out with a shoe? Where's the coverage then? Because y'all know she's a phenomenal player, or obviously she wouldn't be getting these brand deals. So where's the coverage? Where's her highlight videos and things like that? Not saying that there are none, but there aren't as many as there should be, is what I'm saying. So where's the coverage then? Where's the coverage of Angel Reese doing all the wonderful things she does? Where is the coverage? Only time we hear about Angel Reese is when you guys are trying to depict Black women into this stereotypical narrative of, Black women are always angry. The only time we hear about Angel Reese is when she's upset about something, most likely dealing with Caitlin Clark, because you guys love to try to pit people against each other. Other than that, we don't hear about Angel Reese and all the beautiful, positive things that she's doing, all the initiatives she has, all the positivity she brings to the community, how she's just a trailblazer, not just on the court, but off the court, how she is a fashion guru. Angel Reese got invited to the Met Gala. Last time I checked, I didn't see Caitlin Clark get an invitation to the Met Gala, but yet nobody covered that. Angel Reese looked stunning at the Met Gala. Nobody covered that. But what the narrative was around that time was, oh, Angel Reese skipped training camp to go to the Met Gala. That's what y'all tried to make it. Why? Why do y'all hate Black women so much? Like, why? Like, literally, why? What did Black women do to y'all? Is it because Harriet Tubman freed the slaves? Is that what it was? And y'all just still mad about that and you don't want to let it go? Is it because Rosa Parks said hell no and she didn't get the fuck up and y'all feel some type of way? Is that what it was? Like, what is it that y'all just have this huge disdain about Black women? Whatever it is, I'm not asking because I give a fuck. I'm asking because you need to come to that conclusion deep down inside yourself and understand that we don't give a fuck, but you need to get over it. Because it's really ridiculous how you can try to ostracize a certain demographic of people that are actually carrying the backs of everyone out here. Going back to the media, showing a commitment to equity, man, these newsrooms and editors and stuff, they also need to be very diverse as well. Because if you got a whole bunch of straight white men in particular inside your newsrooms and editorial rooms and all the things like that, which you most likely do, you need to diversify it. Because all these straight white men are going to do is try to flex their, heterosexual muscles and basically highlight white women. Partly because some of them are attracted to the white women. And also because this is their way of keeping a white face in the space. And they feel like, well, if this is what I can do with my platform, I'm going to use my platform to do X, Y, and Z. And that just really doesn't create for a very media equitable space, especially in the W. I mean, it just doesn't really make sense. Like, since the W is comprised of mostly Black women, there should be Black women in these newsrooms, Black women in these editorial spaces, Black women shooters on these sidelines. I mean, you name it, and they should be being paid for what the job entails, because anything less than that is really an injustice for sure. I would say the second thing that needs to happen are that the corporate and sponsorship support needs to increase for Black women. For example, like these brand deals, a lot of these brands, Nike or what have you, they need to do better jobs of highlighting Black women in sports and giving them brand deals, because if a brand gets behind an athlete, that athlete's popularity is going to skyrocket. And it's been proven time and time and time again. While these brands like Skechers and Reebok and stuff, those are, some pretty nice brands, but your bigger brands like Nike and who else, fashion companies and things like that, they should be getting behind these Black women athletes to show, not saying that they haven't before, but again, the coverage and the sponsorship is not as plentiful as it should be. You see what I'm saying? And by black, I don't mean biracial. The reason why I say that is because biracial people have a proximity to whiteness. The problem is, again, white people don't want to do shit unless there's some type of whiteness involved in it. And that's fucked up because not everything involves whiteness. There are people put on this planet that were just born into this world that they did not come from a white mom. They didn't come from a white dad. They're just black as fuck. Me being one of them. But for whatever reason, because this white power initiative seems to be what continues to be pushed when it comes to sports and so many other industries, instead of, getting behind a black woman like a Agumake or a Courtney Williams or something like that, the preference is given to people like Candace Parker or any other biracial player in the league. Because again, there's this proximity to whiteness that makes white people feel like, well, if we're not in it, it's not worth being broadcasted. And it's really ridiculous, man. Like, it needs to stop. But that's why this deeply rooted hate for blackness and black women has no space in any of these industries. This type of racism needs to stop. It needs to stop, and I mean like yesterday. Like, not now, but right now. It needs to stop because it's really disgusting. I mean, it really is. Like, it's just, I can't even. I would say, like, some of these corporate sponsorships and things too, like these athlete deals and stuff, they need to be long-term deals that align with the stories of these black women. I don't think I've ever seen in media a time where a brand has actually partnered with an athlete and told their story. I think I might be seeing it a little bit with Juju Watkins because she's young and fresh and coming out of USC, or she will be in a couple years. And, they've done a lot to try to highlight what she does with the hoop bus and her community of Watts. But she's really like one of the few. Considering the W is about, 80% black women, this should be the norm, guys. Like, these long-term commitments that these brands have with these athletes, they need to be telling the athlete's story. Because I guarantee you, if you heard some of these stories of some of these black women, you'd be inspired. One person that comes to mind specifically for me is Aaliyah Gales. Now, I'm not going to speak on her story because I feel like the media has done enough of that already to weaponize why they feel like she won't be able to overcome obstacles. So I'm not going to sit here and do that. But if you get a chance, go ahead and look up Aaliyah Gales and read about her story and how she has survived the unthinkable to continue playing basketball and doing what she loves and chasing her dream. That's all I'm saying. So I feel like if a brand were to get behind Aaliyah Gales, it needs to be a lifelong or a long-term commitment in which she can tell her story and control her narrative of her story in a way that represents her as the black woman that she is. And so I think like that's for sure something that could help as well. Now let's talk about fan engagement and demand. I think that these so-called influencers out here, particularly women's sports influencers, I think that they can do a better job of holding these platforms accountable, like ESPN and a few others that constantly make it their mission to report on black women in sports. I've done it myself. I've called out reporters for speaking ill against Aaliyah Gales when she was playing at USC. And I think that other influencers should be using their platform to do the same thing. The problem is, these influencers, they're not really influencers. They're puppets, is what I like to call them. Because there's no way you're gonna trade, as an influencer, there's no way I'm trading my influence in for some type of money or what have you to let someone else control who I influence. That defeats the whole purpose. And a lot of times what these influencers will do is they'll get a social media following, they'll get a platform, and then they'll get a brand deal, and all of a sudden their influence is controlled by what that brand wants them to post or what they don't want them to post. And honestly, that doesn't help black women in media at all. And this is the reason why I'm very, very cautious on the brand deals that I entertain, if any at all, because at the end of the day, I'm not a representation of your brand. You're a representation of my brand because I'm the brand. Your name isn't bigger than mine. And if you think that it is, you're not the brand for me. I'm just going to continue building my name and my platform until it gets so big that I honestly don't even have to acknowledge you. Like, what would be a Nike to my platform that I have, that I've built on making sure that each and every player in the W gets the equity they deserve? But that's something that I feel like these influencers could do a way better job of. I don't hear about it enough from Black women athlete influencers specifically, like especially the biracial ones. And yes, I am going to get into it again because I never hear them talking about how Black women are so undercovered in sports media. I never hear them talking about it. I never hear any of these influencers using their platforms to say, hey, ESPN, hey, Fox Sports 1, hey, Shannon Sharp, hey, whoever, why are you speaking on Black women like this? Why are you, using your platform to belittle Black women instead of lift them up? Why are you using white women to belittle Black women? Why are you doing this? Why? So I feel like the influencers could definitely do a better job at just, being more influential as well. Like everybody has to do their job when it comes to this. Okay, so let's talk about like league support, because I feel like, the WNBA is not excluded as a league in, being held accountable for why Black women are not getting as much coverage as white women. The WNBA, they have a huge responsibility in this issue and providing solutions to this issue as well. And I don't feel like the league has done a great job of advocating for any of the Black women in the league, especially Angel Reese, especially. All I've seen from the W is a whole bunch of statements on their page. Oh, we don't condone race or hate from fans, or we don't condone this, or we don't condone that. Just because you post the same generic human resources statement that you've been posting for years anytime something happens in the league, just because you post that doesn't mean you're actually actively combating racism, hateful comments, and things within the league. I've seen this time and time again, not just in the W, but in other industries as well. I even was part of a union that had a program called Combating Racism that never actually combated racism. They just put something together as clickbait to make it appear to the public as if they were doing their part to combat racism. Whole time, they were the ringleaders of the racism even existing. And so I think that when the W comes out with these blanket statements, oh, the W doesn't condone hate, like, please knock it off with the generic HR statements. Please, please. Please show us where you have actively combated racism in the league. Please show us where, you guys have highlighted Black women athletes that have no proximity to whiteness, and you've actually put them on a pedestal or the forefront of a team or organization, an initiative or something. Please show me where you've done that. And until you can, all these little, we support all our player statements, that's not going to cut it with me. It just seems like you guys are making more of a mockery of what's going on in the league, and you're not actually doing the work that needs to be done. So I think the WNBA could definitely do a lot better. I think once they do that, at least, if not anything else, it's going to make the Black women athletes in the league at least feel a little seen and appreciated. But right now, I feel as though the Black female athletes in the W do not feel seen and appreciated. And one way you can show your appreciation for these athletes is by paying them what they're worth. Because there's no way players in the NBA are making millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, and players in the W are still in like the low 50,000s. That doesn't make any sense. And please don't talk to me about sponsorship and viewership and broadcast or none of that, because it can be done differently. But these owners of these WNBA teams, they don't want to make the investments for some reason. But again, I think, in my opinion, this is just another way for people to keep women at the bottom. But this shit really does need to stop, because it's really disgusting, man. Last but not least, I think one of the things that could help Black women get more coverage in the media is just having more players in the league like Paige Bueckers. Paige Bueckers is a non-Black player. She's using her platform to shed light on this issue. And, shout out to Paige, because honestly, if more white women or non-Black players and players that had proximity to whiteness use their platform to bring awareness to these same issues. For example, Caitlin Clark, one of the main players who could help with this, but instead she chooses to instigate this narrative that, her and Angel Reese are, against each other or whatnot. But if these players did a better job of, just following in Paige Bueckers' footsteps and saying, look, These players need way more coverage than us. I mean, they comprise the majority of the league. We don't understand why they're not, you know, getting the coverage they deserve, or even taking it a step further and saying, hey, please don't take photos of me. Don't cover me. I don't want to be covered. This person deserves. You know what I mean? Like, you don't got to really be like that specific. But honestly, I think a lot of these players in the league could take a page out of Paige Bueckers' book and really lead by example and use their platforms to do the same thing. But in order for them to do that, they actually would have to recognize that this is an issue, and you have to just like not be tone deaf. And what I do know about white people is a lot of them are very much so tone deaf, and they do it intentionally because they feel like they can. But honestly, like I said in this video, time and time again, all of this stuff needs to stop. I live for the day when media rooms are comprised of people of all races, colors, and creeds. Same thing with these photographers and videographers on the sidelines. I live for the day when the shooters on the sidelines are comprised of all races, colors, creeds, sexes, genders, you name it. But until that happens, everybody needs to play their part in making sure that black women in these leagues get the coverage they deserve. So that being said, this is the end of the video. Consider this video my way of bringing awareness to this issue. If you got offended, it's not my fault. I told you at the beginning, this video is probably going to offend a lot of people. But if you didn't get offended and you're committed to making this change and doing the work that it actually takes in order to bring more awareness and publicity to black women in these sports, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. Make sure you tell a friend about this channel. And stay tuned for the next one. Till next time, peace.